Good morning, good morning, good morning, and peace and blessings to you. It's a great day. It's a blessed day. It's a Thursday. And if you don't know anything else on this Thursday, know that you deserve to be blessed. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This morning is our Thursday here at the Thought to Ponder podcast. And so I just decided that I was going to come in and have a conversation with you all, a candid conversation, but a conversation nonetheless, still. And today, what we're talking about is we're talking about six in one hand and half a dozen in another. Now, some of you may say, okay, Titan, I don't even know what this means. I don't even know what's going on, blah, 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 blah. But you'll get it by the time I'm done with what's happening, right? You'll get that. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can't go ahead and get myself together here this morning. Y'all come on in, share, like, do all of that other good stuff that you do,
Hey,
and make
okay, Titan,
sure
I don't
that
even know what this
we're
means.
good. And yeah, come on in and come talk to me. Come on in and come talk to me. Yes. So let's see what we can actually do here. Yes. We want to make sure that I got you in this morning, that we are doing what we need to do. Hey, where you at? Y'all come talk to me. Come talk to me. Come talk to me this morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Whew. Man, I tell you, sometimes like when you are trying to like get stuff going and especially in the mornings, it's almost like you have to start up a generator, right? You got to rev that mug up and you got to get it going. Like whoa, you know. And so this morning I have to apologize to y'all because I have to get this thing getting up, getting it going, making it happen, making it do what it do, you know, things like that. So y'all come with me this morning. Come talk to me. Let me know you're in the building. Hit that thumbs up, hit that heart, hit that like, hit that follow, hit the notifications button, all of that good stuff, all that stuff that you need to do when you're thinking about coming along and following, right? So, this morning, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about six in one hand and half a dozen in another. My grandmother used to say this all the time to me. And a matter of fact, a couple of elders would say this all the time to me. And I was like, I really don't know what you're talking about. What are you saying? Like, what are you saying? Six in one hand and half a dozen in another, you know? And so, what I want to do is kind of look at that this morning and see if we can't kind of dissect it just a little bit. And you know, I have a story. You know, I have a story this morning. You know how that goes with me. So I wanted to do this morning, and I'm hoping that you all understand where I'm coming from and what it is I'm actually doing. So good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and peace and blessings to you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for being a part of the broadcast this morning. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let me say this before I get started. So, I've been revamping the Thought to Ponder hashtag T2P. I've been trying to make sure that it's up and running and doing what it needs to do and all of that good stuff. And so, I just kind of wanted to streamline Thought to Ponder. And if you look at Thought to Ponder now, with the streamlining, it's it's being brought into I think it's a little bit more of a pleasing, easy on the eyes and all that good stuff like that. So yeah. But anyways, come check me out. I am on Spotify, the streaming platforms. It's the Thought to Ponder, THOUGHT, the number two, and Ponder, and all of that good stuff. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, look. This morning, I decided to not. I decided to not comb the hair. I decided that I was just gonna let it lay low, lay low. I was gonna let it do what it do. Look, you might get a little craziness this morning. You might not. You might get a little shake or something. Yeah, you might get a little something like that. Mm. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good morning, good morning again. All right. So, our topic this morning is half a dozen, six in one hand and half a dozen in another. So, six in one hand, half a dozen in another, right? So, what we want to do is talk about that and look into it. But before we do all of that, you know what we do in the mornings, you know how we get down. You know, we like to take a moment and acknowledge that our breath is important. We like to take a moment and acknowledge that we're here and that we're living and that we are good, right? And that we're blessed. So, what I want you to do is to come with me this morning and take a breath to center yourself, to make sure that you are good, to make sure that things are going okay with you. I have yesterday I explained why I do the breath, and quite a few people were like they didn't know the reasoning behind the breath. Um, and I wanted to say that I have always, well, not always done the breath like that, but after being on a show, and I'm gonna give her a shout out this morning, Tiffany Scales, the word matician. Good morning to you. She asked me one day when I was going around and doing radio interviews, and I did her radio show. And she asked me, she said, Titan, how do you breathe? And I thought to myself, I said, but then it came to me that I breathe so much more deeply now, that I breathe so much more freely, right? And before I couldn't do that. Before I really wasn't breathing like that. And so, with that being said, Tiffany awoke something in me for me to acknowledge my breath on a daily basis. And so, yesterday, when I was explaining what happened and how you look at it, your breath is so important. You are in control of everything that happens within your body, within your area, within your constructs. Like you are in control. And until we really figure that out, we will always be that person sitting over here, right? Wondering why things are not happening to me, wondering not why things are not going great with me. Good morning, Sherry. Wondering why things are not happening. And for so many years, I wondered why me. I wondered why couldn't I get it right? Why couldn't I go forward? And I'm not saying that this is the end all be all, ladies and gentlemen, but I do want to tell you that controlling your breath, acknowledging your breath, knowing that your breath is important is a great way for you to center yourself, to bring yourself back to life, back to life, back to reality, back to the here and now. Yeah. Yes, bring yourself back to life. And a lot of people don't get that. So every morning when I start the show, every morning when I start the program, I always say that we need to acknowledge that our breath is important. The only way that we're going to be able to truly know what's going on and know what's happening is to be able to know or acknowledge that our breath is important. So many times we want to tell you that your breath isn't important. So many times we want to snuff you out. So many times you don't want to be heard or you think you shouldn't be heard. But the reality of it is that we all have a voice, we all are living, we all are breathing. But we have to acknowledge that our breath is important. There's no way for us to live in this world, to be in this world, to do these things that we do, and we can't acknowledge that our breath is important. So, ladies and gentlemen, while I'm here this morning asking you, I ask that you take a moment every day. And sometimes you might have to do it two or three times a day, according to what level you're on. But I'm not, hey, I have nothing to do with how many times you do it. The reality of it is that you do it. That's the reality. That's the reality. So take a moment and acknowledge that your breath is important. And that's what we do here at the Thought to Ponder at hashtag T2P podcast. What we do is that we like to take a moment and acknowledge that our breath is important. Good morning, Aurelia. So let's go ahead and do that. And so normally, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm kind of I'm revamping or rebirthing this thought to ponder. I have been explaining this week what we do and how we do it, so forth and so on. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you put this into your daily routine, right? Some people pray, some people meditate, some people do both. Some people be quiet, some people make noise, some people chant, some people. It's all of what you do. But I think that you should really, 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 really understand how important your breath is and what it is that your breath brings to the table. Yes, and sometimes your breath may be kicking like kung fu, but that's okay. That's okay. As long as you're doing it right with yourself, as long as you're making sure that you're good with yourself, I don't think you have a problem with any of that. But look, however it is, if your breath is kicking like kung fu, it's still important, right? Because you still have to breathe. I just say just go on in there and put some mouthwash in and brush those pearlies and make sure that you're good and you can go forward. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and get into those breaths, right? What I want you to do is take a moment. I want you to shake it out. I want you to make sure that you're good. I want you to understand where you're at right now. And then what I want you to do is just take a moment. Take a moment and then listen to my voice. We're going to count to three. And when we take that deep breath in, we're going to think about those things that happened on yesterday, those things that are gone now, and today is a new day. We're going to think about those things and we're going to handle them accordingly, right? We're going to handle them accordingly. It's important to know, ladies and gentlemen, that even if it's a bad thing, even if it's a thing that's not necessarily good for you, even if it's something that you know that has to change or whatever have you, you have to acknowledge what it is. You cannot go around this world, you cannot go through this world up and down, back and forth, and not acknowledge that there is an issue, a problem, or a concern, or that you are happy, that you are great, that you're feeling good. So you can't go through this world without doing that, right? But what you can do is acknowledge it. And once you acknowledge it and then you blow it out, you are able to deal with that issue, that problem, that concern, or whatever it may be, right? That's what I believe with the breath. So that's why we take the breaths in the morning. That's why we get up and we make sure that we are good and we're going forward. All right. Y'all ready for me? I know that was a lot. That was a lot. I'm trying to make sure that we good. I'm trying to make sure that we are in this count, in this thing. Y'all come on in. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me see those thumbs up. Let me see those hearts. Let me see whatever it may be. And then go ahead and hit that notification button and come follow. And just make sure that you're available for the podcast in the mornings, right? Let me say this real quick. Hold on. I'm trying to make sure that I'm good here. My setup is kind of different this morning. Hold on. Got it. All right, there we go. That's better. That's better. Let's see what this does. All right, yeah, there we go. That's better. All right, it's a little hot. It's a little hot. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take these three breaths, and we're going to come in this morning, and we're going to go ahead and move forward. So here on the T2P podcast, we love to take the three breaths and to acknowledge that our breath is important, and this is how we do that. All right. So on the count of three, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to count out the first breath this morning. And then the second breath, I won't count. The third breath, we'll take the third breath. But on the end of the third breath, we're going to make some noise. We're going to make some noise. That's what we're going to do. All right. So are y'all ready with me this morning? I think I heard you say that you were ready. So if you are ready, then let's go ahead. Let's do it. All right. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That part right there, ladies and gentlemen, that part right there. Good morning, Charlotte. Good morning. Yes, just in time to take the breath. Yes, thank you for tuning in. Good morning. All right, you ladies and gentlemen, we're on the second breath. Now, remember, on this breath, I'm not counting. I will do the hand movements. I will make sure that you know where we're going. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing a 5 pace. I'm doing a 5 count, right? If you are able to get to 3, then great. Then we'll try for 4. Then we'll try for 5. If you're able to get to 2, great. But I ask that you actually go ahead and do that. There is no shaming in where you're at and how far you're going. I say come on in and get it however you're going to get it. All right. We're ready for the second breath. If you're ready for the second breath, I want you to go ahead and take a deep breath on a count of three. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. Ooh. Blow it out. Blow it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say something else as well. Somebody asked me this about a week ago, right? Why do I always take the breath through my nose? Okay, so look, breathing has like a like instructions somewhat, right? We know that we breathe through our nose and our mouth, but when you breathe through your nose, you're able to fill up and feel and understand, because I can go and hold my breath. But if I breathe through my nose, see, I'm clearing that. I'm bringing it in, right? And the way that it goes is that you should always breathe through your nose and blow out through your mouth, right? That's the way you should do it, right? Because if you really think about it, when you breathe through your nose, you feel all of that. So I don't know if you've ever paid attention to it, but you feel all of that. And what we like to say here, that hashtag T2P, is that basically you're charging up those neurons, you're charging up those cells, you're bringing it in, right? So I think that's a good thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're on to the last breath this morning. And for those of you who will watch this later, look, you can do this at any time. It doesn't have to be in the morning. It doesn't have to be whenever. Take a moment and just take the breath. And you don't have to be as loud as I am, or you don't have to be as rambunctious or whatever have you, but just take the breath and acknowledge that your breath is important. Sometimes we don't acknowledge that. And I think that is a disservice to us, because really and truly we are spiritual beings. And in order for us to dial it in and align, our breath is important. We got to be able to control that. We have to be able to control that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last breath here this morning. And remember, on this breath, what you do is you take that breath in, you acknowledge the issue, the problem, the concern, and then you're going to blow it away. And when you blow it away this time, you're going to make some noise. That's what you're going to do. Y'all ready? All right, on the count of three, we're going to take that deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. And and then you blow it out like that. You make some noise. Y'all, I'm not crazy. I promise you, I'm not crazy. Well, hey, you think what you want to think, feel how you want to feel, do it how you want to do it. I think it's really, really good that we're able to go ahead and do that. I'm gonna try something here this morning that I've never done. I'm going to try to see. We're able to go ahead and do that. I'm gonna try something here this morning. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I just want to say this to you all. Like, I am on this high right now because I'm trying these new things, and um, so I'm streaming to Facebook and to YouTube at the same time, and so I'm just trying to like get my bearings and get through this and stuff like that. And it's really, really crazy because um, sitting here watching this, people are able to comment and say things and so forth and so on from both platforms. And so it's really, really cool to be able to do that and to be able to have people come in and talk to you and just let you know what's going on. And so I think that's really, really cool. I think it's really, really cool. And so I just wanted to take a moment and acknowledge that part really quick. But all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another. I don't know if you have heard that from your mother, your grandmother, maybe some of your elders in the family, but I have always heard that throughout. And so I always wondered, what did that mean? How does that work, right? So I'm gonna tell you about 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another, the saying, but then I want to tell you about a conversation I had with someone where this very thing here basically came up, right? So according to definitions, right, It basically says that six in one hand and half a dozen in another. It's the difference between two options, right? It means that basically that you have two different ways of doing something. Okay. You have alternatives, right? You're able to go this route and you're able to go that route, right? Or that you have two alternatives are equal or equivalent or indifferent. It doesn't matter which one we choose, but we do have options. We do have options. My grandmother used to always say this to me, and I would say, "Well, grandma, why doesn't?" But it's still six. If it's six in one hand, half a dozen in the other, it's still six, right? So like it didn't make sense at the time. So what do you think six in one hand and half a dozen in another means? Because I just gave you what the definition was, but what do you think? How does it apply to your life, right? Think about a time when you knew that there was another way to do it, right? And so you were like, okay, I can't go this way, but I'm gonna go this way, right? And I'm gonna do that. So I'm having a conversation with someone, and we're talking about business and being in COVID-19. And we were talking about how we were going to make it through, and they were saying, "Well, Titan, you're moving like you're doing it." And I said, "Here's what's crazy. I didn't want to do it before, right? I had conversations on top of conversations with my brother Ian all the time, and Ian was like, blah 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 blah, and I was like, bro, I don't know, like I'm really not trying to like be into all of that and do that." But then I had to think about it. So here's what the way the conversation went with this particular person. They said, "Well, I'm not going to do this because they're doing that and they're doing this and doing that." And I said, "Well, here's the thing. I don't think that you should be in this pandemic, right? Come out on the other side and you're the exact same way you were when you went in. This right here, and ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you all see it or if you all feel it or you even think it, but this has been a great opportunity. Yes, we have deaths. Yes, this pandemic has taken us to a whole nother level, but it's also given us a multitude of opportunities, right? And I think sometimes we don't see it like that. We don't see it like that because it doesn't truly affect us in the way that we think it does, but it does. Because if you know something, this is our new normal. Everything has changed. It's never going to be the same. So the way you look at how you do business, the way you look at acquiring a business, the way you look at sustaining a business, it's all different now, right? And now there's a lot of things that are on that's happening that's basically like it's almost like this is a whole new world, right? Online, digital, like everything is, virtual. Everything is like whoa, right? And then you have to think about it. Did these companies ever figure or even fathom that they were going to have this influx, this rush, right? Because all of a sudden you didn't know anything about Zoom, but now you know everything about Zoom. All of a sudden you didn't know about streaming across platforms and podcasts and stuff like that because you didn't think it was for you. But now it's for you. Now it's like, yeah, podcast. Everybody has a podcast. So this is what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. And to this person that I was talking to, you can sit here, you can say that you want to have a business and that you're going to do business and that you're going to be in business. But what you can't do is sit here and say that you're not going to do your business. Did you hear what I said? You can't just sit here and say because somebody else is doing the same thing. Do you know how many people own clubs or have clubs? There are many clubs to go to. You know how many people own restaurants? You know how many people have podcasts? I'm gonna go back to that, have podcasts. So how is it that you can determine that you're not going to do something because somebody else is already doing it? Now, I don't say that you plagiarize. I don't say that you steal somebody's idea, but a podcast is a podcast. And if you have something to say, then come on and say it and do what you got to do. But do not sell yourself short. Don't sit here and say to yourself that I'm not going to do that. Six in one hand and half a dozen in another. It's still six. It's still six. So no matter how I put it, it's still six. Same thing. No matter how you put it, it's still a podcast. No matter how you fix it, it's still a restaurant. No matter how you do it, you still have a salon, or you still have you're still a stylist, or no matter how you do it, you still have a nonprofit, or you still do this, or you still do that. So what I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen, this should not be the time for you to say, "Oh, I'm not going to do something." Invest in yourself, right? And understand that there are multitudes, or there are many tracks, or there are many ways for you to do what it is that you want to do. You cannot sit there and say because somebody else is doing it, that with the way that you are going to do it, it's not going to work. Make it work. Make it work. So I'm trying to give some upliftment and some tidbits and stuff, and I'm trying to tell this person to go for it and go, and they kept shooting me down, and I kept saying, and then I said, you know what, six in one hand and half a dozen in another. It's still six. It's still six. So if you're going to do it, then do it. Yours may not be up here where the other person's is. Yours may be down here, and rightfully so, because you need to start out and know what it is to have this type of business. What can you do for free? What can you do for free? If you are watching somebody right now who has it together, it's clean and it's pristine and it looks good and it looks like it's a business, what are they doing that you can't? They may have more money than you, but in this day and in this age, particularly, you're able to do so much more for free. Now, you might not maybe be able to do it at the magnitude that they're doing it, but that's neither here nor there. Six in one hand, half a dozen in another. It's still six. They're doing it on a six. They're doing it with six in one hand. So you come along and you do it with half a dozen in another. You feel what I'm saying? That's how you do that. So don't sell yourself short. Don't tell yourself that you're not able to do it. You get out there and you do it. And if you got to take it one step at a time, then you do that. But let me tell you something. There are ways for you to do and for you to have. Do not let this pandemic pass you by and you are completely the same as you were when you went in. Meaning you don't have anything there. This business you've been wanting to do it. This time that you've been wanting to take it. You know what I'm saying? Do what you need to do. But ladies and gentlemen, do not sell yourself short. Do not tell yourself because this six in one hand looks so much better than this half a dozen in another. It's still six. It's still six. You are still able to do what it is that you need to do. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my background. So somebody told me one day that they didn't know why I do the scat in the mornings. And so this is something I always talk about because you can let somebody tell you something. You can let somebody take you off your game if you're not careful. And so I used to do the thought to ponder all the time. So I would record the video, and then I would go and edit, add some stuff in, and then I would upload it to YouTube. And you all can go back and double check. It's Titan Capri on YouTube. I have videos, thought to ponders going back for years, and I was doing them. I started out, they were kind of short, then they were a little long, then they went back, so forth and so on. So what I'm saying this morning is that there is more than one way to have a business or to do things or to do what you love. There's more than one way to do it. And that's what I mean by six in one hand and half a dozen in another. My grandmother used to say that to me all the time, and I was always wondering, well, what? Well, why is that like that? Well, I can't do it because I'm not, on the level that they are, or I'm not doing what they're doing, and so forth and so on. And so here's what I don't want you to do anymore in your life. I don't want you to second guess yourself. There's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. If it's six in one hand, it's half a dozen in another. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if they're doing it by way, then you have the will to do it yourself. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not putting anybody down because we all got to start somewhere. Start somewhere. But the point is that you start. All the time we want to say to ourselves, no, I can't do it because look at them. Look how they're doing it. And then really and truly, ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to be a carbon copy of that person. You have what you have because it's yours. So you bring that to the table in the best way that you know how. Don't let somebody tell you because of the fact that yours is not conventional as theirs is, or yours is not PC, that you can't do it. There is a niche for everybody everywhere. You just got to find where you at. Y'all with me? You just got to find where you're at. And sometimes people say, "Oh, well, Titan, you're saying this, but that really doesn't make any difference." No, it does. It does. So don't sell yourself short. Look at where you're at right now, and you ask yourself, "Where do I want to be? What can I accomplish? What can I do?" And if you do that, you make one step toward that accomplishment, one step toward that thing you want to do, one step toward that understanding that you may not be up here. You may be down here, but that doesn't mean that you can't do. That doesn't mean that you can't be. That doesn't mean that you can't go forward. Six in one hand and half a dozen in the other doesn't change the fact that it's still six. Because if you stand there and you count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's six. But people call it half a dozen. That doesn't mean that you're wrong in calling it six because it's the same thing. I hope I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. Especially those of you who are trying to have a business and go forward. Now I'm doing this morning because somebody told me that I would not go forward. I would not do. And these were the words that somebody said to me. And I think they were trying to be spiteful, right? I think they were trying to like really put me down. But if you know me, you know there's one thing about me. I will push and I will push and I will continue. I will move in silence sometimes. I will see stuff. I won't comment on it. I won't say anything to it, but I'll go off on my own route and I'll do what I need to do because ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately it's up to you. You can go somewhere and get all the knowledge. You can go somewhere and get the training. You can go somewhere and get the know-how. You can go somewhere and get the 1, 2, 3s, the ABCs. You can go somewhere and do all of that. But until you apply it to you and what you're doing, it will mean nothing. It will mean nothing for you. You with me on that? So, ladies and gentlemen, this morning when I come to you and I say six in one hand and half a dozen in the other, I want you to understand what that means, where that comes from, because there's more than one way, as the old folks used to say, to skin a cat, right? I know I don't want to, but y'all know the saying, you know what I mean? And then people say, oh, well, there's a fork in the road. There's a right and there's a left. There's always two ways. There's always two sides to a story. And sometimes there's three. But what I want you to do this morning is to understand where you're at. So if you're out there this morning and you have an idea and you have this business idea, or you have this idea of doing a podcast, or you have this idea of running a marathon, or you have this idea, whatever it may be, what I ask that you do is before you shoot it down and say, I can't do it, think about having six in one hand and half a dozen in another. There's always a way. There's always a way. And sometimes people say, oh, well, Titan, you did this or you did that. No. I always ask people, and I don't know it all. I don't know it all. But I always ask people, how did you do this? Not that I want you to tell me how the intricate, like what's your budget and bishop. Not that I wanted, I wanted to know, how did you get it started? Was it something that you thought of and just went with? Was it something that you didn't know? And then, yes, there are classes and things out there. So this is what I'm going to tell y'all. This is what I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to say don't go with someone, because if you see someone that knows the business, knows what's going on, go with them and find out what's happening. Find out what's going on with them. Do that. However, what I would suggest is that you basically go look it up, research, do what you do. Good morning, LaShawn. Good morning. Do some research and know what's going on and know what's happening. I've always wanted to make sure that I had knowledge. And so maybe I come in and maybe I don't know everything, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to research it. I'm going to go and do it. And ladies and gentlemen, sometimes when people don't give you what you're looking for or what you're asking, that doesn't mean that they're hating on you. That doesn't mean, and it could be that they feel that they don't want to give away their secrets. That's fine and dandy. But if you want to know something, don't stand and wait on that person or those people to teach you Go find out for yourself. Go find out for yourself. Do your own research. Know what it takes. And if it takes you, again, doing one step at a time, then you do that one step. But don't ever shoot yourself in the foot so that you can't walk right and say that I can't do it, right? Six in one hand and half a dozen in another. If you can't go that route, back up and go that route. If you can't go to this height, come back down and start right here. You feel me? Because our thought processes are up here, but reality, we're down here. So, what can I do on the ground floor? What can I do on the free floor? Every company, everything out there has something for free. A trial, 7-day this, 1 month this, something for free. Go figure it out. Go figure it out. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And then once you know what you want to do, think about it. Six in one hand and half a dozen in another. Okay? You start on this journey. Six in one hand, half a dozen in another. If it don't work this way, you can still go this way. But do understand it's still six. It ain't changed. Six in one hand, half a dozen in another. Still six. It doesn't change anything. So make sure that when the time comes, you're ready. And yes, you're probably going to get discouraged because people are going to tell you, oh, well, no, that's not what that is. That's not the market for you. That's not this. Well, make your way. And it may not be easy, ladies and gentlemen. You may want to do something that may not be, but start small. Start small. Start with an understanding. This is what you do. Do this and get it right. You with me? Do this and get it right. Then when you do it, duplicate it. Do it again and get it right. Pay attention to detail. Give it that great customer service. Do what you need to do in order to make a name for yourself. Because what we know is that six in one hand, quality, right? Six in another, half a dozen in another, quantity. Y'all with me? There's more than two ways, but I will always take quality over quantity. I don't care about anything else. Look, you have a business, you have a thought process, you want to do something. And so I want to talk to, I'm going to say this because I'm not going to be on here long this morning, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to say this to you all. To the person that I had the conversation with, you can do it, but you got to get away from trying to do it like everybody else. You have to get away from everybody else telling you that you're no good. You have to get away. You have to surround yourself with positive energy. You got to surround yourself, right? You got to surround yourself with great things. Now, look, I'm not telling you that it's going to be a Fortune 500 company. I'm not telling you that it's going to be this, it's going to be that. You're going to be able to do this, you're going to be able to do that. But what I am telling you is it's a possibility. If you do it right, if you do it right the first time, and you build on that and you keep going and you keep going, it will happen. But sometimes we don't understand that things just don't come out and just boom, just like that. I had a conversation on Tuesday with Alanis Capri, and Alanis said something. She said, y'all don't know, but I've been doing this. I've been back here doing this for a minute. And now you see me getting all of this stuff and doing all of these shows and getting accolades and all this stuff. This is not new. I've been here. I've been here. And so sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, when you see people going and growing and doing, that's because they've been down on ground level doing what they need to do. They've been moving in silence because they're doing it the right way. Right? You don't want to open up a business or do something and you're not prepared. It's just the way it is. So I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, that the person told me that I was talking to. Well, Titan, it ain't like you doing this and this and that. I said, but you have to understand that most of the time when I come on and I talk to you all and I'm doing my thought to ponder, I done been through so much with this thought to ponder that you don't even know. But you see me now and you see me talking and doing the breaths and doing my and stuff. That's all stuff that I had done. And the reason I'm saying this is because people told me that it wouldn't work. People told me that you shouldn't do that. People told me that you should look a certain way. People told me that I was never going to be able to do it, and that if I told you who I was and what I was going to fail. That's what people said to me. Not, hey, Titan, go for it. Hey, Titan, do it. Until here recently. I have my brother, I have my family, Ian, my best friends, that they're behind me, my family, and all of. But they all know. But I said to them that I have been trying to do. I have been trying to do it the way everybody else wanted me to do it. There was a time that I would never get on here looking like this, and I'm not saying that you need to look rough. Watch your mouth. I'm saying, but there was a time where I wouldn't let my hair down. Literally, wouldn't let my hair down. Head full of hair past my shoulders. But I would put it under a cap or put it under a scully because I didn't want to look a certain way. I didn't want you to think that I was less of a man because I had a full head of hair, right? I didn't want you to think that. And so sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we have to understand where we're at. Some people are not going to be for you everywhere you go. That's why you got to be for yourself. Some people are not going to root for you because you rooted for them. You got to be able to understand that. And some people are not going to support your business the way that you support your business. And you're going to have to understand that. No ill feelings toward nobody. No ill feelings toward what they're saying and what they're doing. I have no problems with anybody. But what I did have to understand was that if I was going to do it, then I was going to do it. I could not wait for somebody else to do it my way. To do it my way. Right? I tried being with other people. I tried being around other people. I tried being on other people's platforms. I tried being in other people's organizations. And it just didn't work for me because I never said or set any expectations on what it was that I wanted or I needed. Now, let me not say what I wanted because it's what I need, right? It's what I need. And if you always approach a situation with what you need, then I don't think you'll ever have a problem with going forward and being the best that you are. I don't think you'll have a problem with that. But a lot of times people do. So know what you are, know who you are, know where you are. But do understand, ladies and gentlemen, if there's 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another, you still are at 6. You can count it out, right? Come on. You can do all you can count, you can do, but ladies and gentlemen, do not sell yourself short. Do not sit up here and tell yourself that just because you're not doing it the way that they're doing it, just because your business doesn't look grand and this and that, is still your business. You still give it the 150% that you always gave it. You still give it the great customer service that you always give it, and then you will go far. Now, you may not reap the benefits right now, but you will. And when you do, you're going to stand back and you're going to say, look at that. I did that. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Hermie. So yes, you're going to have to be able to say that. You're going to have to be able to do that. But 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another. You're going to have to make sure that you are doing what you need to do for you. If you can't do it this way, then do it this way. 6 in one hand, half a dozen in another is still a hand. It's still 6, right? So to the person that I had the conversation with, and as I told them, I didn't come on, I didn't have the conversation to tell you how good I am. I came on to say that you can do it, that you can push, that you can make it through. But one thing that I know is that I'm not here for a handout. You tell me what the job is, you tell me what my job description is, you tell me what the prerequisite is, and I'm going to go and do that. That's what I'm going to do. And 9 times out of 10, you can ask anybody around me, best friends, cousins, family, whatever. You can ask them. I will not. I will not. I will do it by myself and struggle until the end of times before I ask somebody for something. Because it has always been, and in my experience, not speaking for anybody else, it's always been that I had to fight for myself, because I would come up with these great ideas and these things, and I would go into these people and I would tell them, and I'd be like, and they're like, yes, let's do it. And then they take it on and they do it. And then I'm sitting here saying, well, wait, but that was my idea. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have to be secretive about what you're doing. But what I'm saying is the construct of business, right? And how to do it. You can't jump from 0 to 10 and expect for it to be great. You have to build a firm foundation. You have to build a foundation. You have to understand what it takes to run this. And then sometimes people said, and I had this here lately, oh, well, you're just doing a podcast. That's all you're doing. But it takes a lot to do that. For me to sit in front of you right now, and I'm not saying, I'm not bragging, and please understand it's not what I'm doing. But I'm saying for it to look good and be good and bring you that message, right, uninterrupted, there's are things that you have to do. You got to be prepared. You got to have lights. You got to have a laptop. You got to have a recording device. You got to have microphones. You got to have good volume. You got to have quiet. You got to have good, like, you got to have all of these things. And true enough, I can come on and just talk to y'all and do whatever have you. But it's not point of me talking. It's the message. And I can't give you the message, or I can't give you the good customer service if it's chaotic and crazy and I don't know what's happening. You understand what I'm saying? And so somebody told me just recently, they were like, well, Titan, you've been coming on and I see your growth and doing this and doing that. And I said, yeah. I said, I've been really fortunate to have people around me that don't mind letting me know what I need to do, right? And not that I had to wait for you to no, they were saying, okay, hey, bro, hey, come here. So one thing I'm gonna tell you that my brother Ian told me. My brother Ian said to me, brother, you need to look at your numbers. And I was like, no, I'm just doing it for fun. I don't really want to look at numbers, because then once I look at numbers, then I'm gonna have to be doing this and I'm gonna have to be doing that and bada 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 bada. And then he was like, no, brother, no, like you have to, right? You have to look at numbers, because there's gonna come a time when you want to move forward and go further. Right? There's going to come a time when you're going to want to do what you want to do, and you're not going to be able to do it because you don't know what it takes. Right? And so somebody told me, and I know I'm saying a whole lot of somebody told me something, but somebody said to me that it didn't matter whether or not, and this is, and I'm not going to say that this is not true, but what I am going to say is that reality set in, right? So, somebody said that it doesn't matter how many people you have on your live, how many people you have on your podcast, as long as you're reaching the people. And in theory, that is true. That is true. I'm going to always give you this. The message is most important to me, right? But let's be clear, ladies and gentlemen, in order for you to move forward, in order for you to go forward, and if you don't want to do this, okay, so let's say, for instance, with me, let's say that my end goal is to have my own TV show, or to have my own show, or to have thousands and thousands, 50,000 people following me and come in and have all of this and do all of this. If that's what it takes, then I need to look at the numbers. I need to understand what the numbers are, right? This is what my brother told me. And I was like, oh, no. I'm just going to get on. I'm going to speak. My spirit is moved and everything is great. And that's good. That's good. But don't fool yourself and think that numbers don't matter. How do you think people like The View, The Talk, Good Morning America, I don't know, Oprah, like all these, how do you think they got to where they were? It's about a numbers game. And so you have to be able to be there. And in order for you to play with the numbers and throw down with the big dogs, you got to know what it takes to get there. And if you don't know that, then that's fine, right? Start where you know, but there will come a time where it's going to matter. So I said all that this morning because I had this conversation with someone, and I want to say to you, to the person out there, they're watching because I saw that they were on, and then to those of you who are tuning in and watching, Six in one hand and half a dozen in another. It doesn't mean that it's not six. It just means that there are two different ways for you to do it. If this way doesn't work, come back and think about what will work. And sometimes you're trying to take 5 steps at a time. Sometimes you got to take 2. Hold on for a second, take 2 more. Hold on for a second and take 2 more. Or either one, hold one, hold one. However it is that you have to do it, that's what you got to do. But you cannot expect yourself to be at 100 just starting out the gate. And I'm gonna go even further. I'm gonna go even further. Look, I don't want to be at 100 just coming out the gate, because that means I don't know what it takes to get to 100, because I skipped 99 and went straight to 100. So I don't know what it takes. So when I fall, I'm going to fall hard. When things happen, I'm going to be taken out like there was no tomorrow. I want to go through the steps because I got to know what's behind the scenes in order to know what's in front of the scenes. You think these shows that we watch, you think they just get on and just go? Blah, 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 blah. No, they practice. They rehearse. They make sure that it's good. They make sure the lighting is right. They make sure that the background looks good. They make sure that they are telling you. They make sure that they get straight to the story and so that you know what's going on. Come on. 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another. Ladies and gentlemen, this pandemic has taught us. This pandemic has wore us low. This pandemic has came against us like there's no tomorrow. When we come out on the other side of this pandemic, and we will, when we do, you should be able to stand firm that this pandemic allowed you to grow. It allowed you to grow. Now, I don't know if it's 6 inches or if it's a mile, but you grew. So do not take this moment and say that you don't know, or you don't want to do this, or I'm not going to do this because they're doing it and look at how they're doing it. So no. You do you. There is something that you do and you do well. There is something that you do and you do great. There is something out there that you do. Hone in on that. But there's always a way that you do something that somebody else doesn't. And that's how you move. Because then one day you'll be sitting there saying to yourself, now why I didn't do this when I said I was going to do it? And look at them. They over here doing what they doing, making it happen, so forth and so on, right? So ladies and gentlemen, do that. Do that, ladies and gentlemen. Do that. I always want to be honest and be truthful and tell you what's going on. But sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, what you have to understand is that the truth is a hard pill to swallow sometimes. Sometimes the truth is a hard pill to swallow. So this person told you that this wasn't the way it was. Somebody came to you and said that is you are not going to get anywhere with that, right? That meaning how it's made now. And you want to listen to what people tell you, especially if somebody's trying to give you some expertise, right? Constructive criticism is totally different from just criticism, period, right? Constructive criticism, I had to step back and understand and acknowledge that I don't know it all. And then I had to move forward. I had to understand that I was going to fall. I had to understand that I wasn't going to have all the answers. I had to understand that. And then when I understood that, I was like, oh, okay. So this is my thing, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to say this and then I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And thank you all for tuning in this morning. This is what I told my peeps around me, right? I'm a sponge. I'm a sponge. I'm going to follow the instructions. I'm that person that gets a new toy, a new cell phone, a new this or new that, and I read the instructions. If I can't see it, I'll take a picture of it and blow it up until I know what it is. I'm never one to get something and just put it together and then look at the instructions later. That's not me. Life has taught me that I need to know the steps. I need to know 1, 2, 3. I need to know the instructions. Life has taught me that I just can't jump into a shark-infested waters and not know how to swim, or not know how to get away, or not know what it takes to get the sharks off me if they come. I can't do that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know no more business than you know. right? But I do know this is that if you want it, right, and you need it, then you need to get out there and want and need, but you need to get out there and actually do. You have to get out there and actually do. Research, look up, find out what's going on. Because I'm telling you, if you wait long enough, it may be too late for whatever it is that you're doing. Because what you want to do, there's an old saying that goes along with that. You want to strike while the iron is hot. You understand what I'm saying? Have you ever heard that? Because if you've heard it, you understand when the iron is hot, it slices. So you want to attack while the iron is hot. So when your time comes, you need to be prepared. Be prepared. When your launch date happens, be prepared for what comes next. Be prepared. Have stuff waiting in the wings to get. Be right there. Okay, well, if this happens, then you're not going to be able to do everything, but you will be able, right, to know what the next step is. Do that. Do that. Hermie said, so true. Constructive criticism can't come from someone who wants to see you fail. I always examine a person's motive. That is so true. A lot of people really don't get it. Stop going to these people that mean you no good. Stop going to these people that always put you down. But when they have something going, they want you to come and support them and make sure that they're good. Stop supporting people that don't support you. Now, with that being said, there's different types of support. So I support those that support me. Sometimes the people that support me don't support me in the limelight. You'll never know who they are. But I'll support them because they have been there for me since day one. I support people until you give me a reason not to support you. But if you have never supported me, right, I can't keep going to you asking you for support when I support you all the time and you're not supporting me. Stop giving so much support to those that don't support you. And be careful with those people you have around. Surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with your investment, right? Where are you going? What are you doing? Surround yourself with those people. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I want to ask you. We're talking about 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another. Do you have a moment where you realize that there was 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another, but it was still 6? Y'all know what I'm talking about. That you realize that there was more than one way to go about this. There was more than one way to do it. So hit the comments and let me know, ladies and gentlemen. And if you can't hit the comments, then go ahead and shoot me a message or anything like that. Hit the inbox and let me know. But I want to know if I'm just talking, if I'm just not making any sense whatsoever. Because the person that I was talking to was really, really adamant that I was just rubbing it in their face that I'm successful and they're not. And I told them that's not the case in point. But you can't go asking for something, and then when somebody tells you the truth, you're upset and you're angry, right? Like I was watching RuPaul Drag Race, and I think Latrice Royale would say, all tea, all shade. Like, this is real, right? I'm not really giving you shade, but I'm just saying, all tea, like, I got to give you the real. And if I see you over there struggling, and I see you continuously struggling, I'm going to try to help you, right? But here's the thing. First time, shame on you. There might be a second time, but if it happens and it's bad, shame on me, because I should have known from the first time. There won't be a third time. So, ladies and gentlemen, you want to do something? Have you ever went somewhere? Have you ever started a business, tried something, and they just shut you down? And you lost all type of faith. You lost all type of energy. You didn't want to do it because you felt that they should have saw you. They should have seen you how you were. You showed up, boom, doom, 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 and they was like, "Oh no, that's not it." So you went, you know what I'm saying? Like you were out of there. And sometimes that may happen, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes it may happen. Sometimes it may happen. But here's my thing, ladies and gentlemen. I had to realize that when somebody gave me constructive criticism, I had to take it for what it was. When somebody told me, hold on, Titan, hold on, because you got something. But what does it mean? What does it mean? I have somebody, I'm not going to mention their name because I don't want to do that. I have somebody that's not my mentor that we've ever said that they were my mentor, but they're my mentor because I contact them and we're about the same age. But I contact them and I ask them, you know, and what they told me was be ready. If you're ready, then I'm going to come with it. And I said, okay, okay, I'm ready. I wasn't ready, but I was ready, right? Because evidently they saw something in me. They saw that I was ready, that I was ready to do that. So they started coming to me with stuff, right? And what the job was, or what the intention was, is to see how I handled it. But here's something, ladies and gentlemen, your resume, your good customer service speaks volumes. And I want to tell you this, not the resume that's on the paper, right? Your resume, who you are, who you show up as, who you represent, your resume goes a long way. Be real with yourself. Be honest with yourself. I have this saying all the time. Sure, absolutely, no problem. Let's go. Oh, well, Titan, no, I don't. But what you're going to do, if you're going to show me, then I'm going to be willing. I'm going to be willing to look, to listen, to understand, and to do it. My motto is you put it in front of me, I will do it. It may take me a little longer than others, but I will do it. Because again, I'm that type of person. I read the instructions. I go through. Somebody sends an email and says da 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 da. I go through the email to make sure I'm not missing anything. Somebody sends some instructions and tell Titan what Titan needs to do. I go through it to make sure. Somebody tells me that there's a contract. Somebody tell me that there's some type of document I need to sign. I go through the document. I go through the contract to understand where I'm at, because what you don't want to do is to get into something and then again later on you're at 100, and when you fall you don't know how to get back up because you didn't take the steps to get there in the first place. Protect yourself, protect your business, protect your intellectual property, protect it, and understand what it is. Herman said that person could not be where God wants them to be. You can't blame nobody for your not ready essentials for growth. You're not ready essentials for growth. We all have to be focused and determined. But with all success, it comes a point. With all success, it comes a point we fail before we concord. That is so true. Like, you have to fall. So let's just break it down. Let's just break it down again. 6 in one hand, half a dozen in another. There's always another way. But sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you running is not the way. Sometimes you got to crawl. All babies learn how to crawl. First off, you learn how to move around, how to roll, right? If you ever have children, or you ever seen about with children, when children are first born and they're in those first couple of months, they lay on their back. They really don't have any control. But you will see they will start to try to flip themselves over. They'll turn over. They'll turn over, right? And then after a while, they're going to start pulling on things to pull up. You know what I'm saying? Then after a while, they're going to start crawling and being pretty fast at it. And then the next thing they're going to do is walk. Good morning, Sharika. Good morning. Hey. And so that's what I want to say this morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know I come sometimes people say, oh, we're tight. When you have these sayings, we know it's always going to be something. Do know that even though it may be a little kooky the way that I come at you sometimes, and I'm not claiming any of that. I'm saying what people have said. It'd be a little kooky, but the message is the same. The message is there. You just have to understand what that is. 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another. There's always another way. There's always another way. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are not surrounding yourself with good energy, with positive people and positive things, you will do yourself a disservice. You will hurt yourself in the end, because there are people out there that are willing to help you, but you got to bring that wall down and understand where you're at. You got to be real with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to be real with yourself. If you are good at something, if you're good at performing, if you're good at singing, if you're good at business, if you're good at organizing, if you're good at building things, then hone in on your skills. Know what you're capable of doing. And when the time comes, you know the old saying, if you ready, then you don't have to get ready. You feel what I'm saying? If you're always ready, you don't have to get ready. So know what you do, know what you bring to the table, and understand that not every table is for you. You can't sit at every table. You cannot. And then if you are sitting at every table, I'm going to say this because the person that I was talking to kind of alluded to this. If you are sitting at every table and nothing is going wrong, that's a problem. That's a problem. Things are going to be good. Things are going to be great. But if there is no room for error, period, anywhere, and you're not being taught something, then that's wrong. But look, y'all, I'm gonna tell you, I have sat in boardrooms, I have sat at conference tables, I have had meetings, I have been a director, I have been a senior manager, I have been a number of things. I have been a trainer, I have been a facilitator, I have been a number of things. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I could not show up in my true authentic self as I am now doing those things. They were good for me. I felt good because I was moving up the ranks and I was getting these accolades and I was doing all of that, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't spiritually, I was not happy. I was paying the bills. I was driving the car. I was doing this stuff. I got that monetary value, but I was not happy. I don't know if y'all can understand that. So 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another. I made a decision in 2017 to walk away from my corporate job of 11 years. To walk away. To walk away. Didn't know what I was going to do. I had saved up some money and then Harvey hit. Took me out. Took me out. Here I was thinking that I was going to travel, thinking I was going to take some time. I had just got me a new camera. I was going to go and travel to these places and these spaces and take these wonderful pictures, these photos. And I was going to have a magazine and I was going to do this and do that and all this stuff that I was going to do. And then boom, Harvey hit. And ladies and gentlemen, y'all are saying, probably thinking to yourself, okay, well, yeah, Harvey was bad, but Harvey was just a flood. That flood affected us all, took us to another level that we had never seen before. Well, kind of, sort of, because we had other storms that came through. But Harvey changed a lot. Harvey changed me. And then here it is, almost 3 years later, and I'm sitting here saying, wow, I walked away not knowing. Yes, I had to scrape. Yes, I had to push. Yes, I had to have 15 jobs for a moment. But I want to say something to you, ladies and gentlemen, as I get ready to close this. There's going to come a time when you will get exactly what it is that you should have. The nourishment, the life, the pleasure. There's going to come a time when that will come to you. They're going to sit it on your front door, tap on your door, and leave it there for you. Here's the point that I want to drive home. 6 in one hand, half a dozen in another. If you are not ready for that package when it comes, right, it won't work, right? That time. What you do is, in the words of Aaliyah, right, dust yourself off and try again. If you are not ready for that package when it comes, don't fret in that aspect. Yes, oh, man, boy, I should have been ready. Okay, so what didn't I do? Or what was I not prepared for? Let me figure that out. Let me grab the whole hold of that. So in order for me to be prepared next time, I need to have this. In order for me to be prepared next time, I have to have this. 6 in one hand, right? Half a dozen in another. It's still 6. You put 6 and 6 together, it's 12. But the count of 12 is also called a dozen. 1,500 is also called 1,500. Right? Y'all with me? 8.5 is also 8.5. Come on, like you have to understand that. So I can't get it this way, or I wasn't prepared this way, but let me go back and let me build this way. Now I'm prepared. Now you're gonna have to really stop me because I'm gonna put this in second gear, shift down to third, shift up, hit fourth. If you all know about a 5 speed, and once that engine get the revving, I shift down into fifth, and boom, I'm out of there. I say this all the time to people that I'm around. My job or my thought process is you let me get my foot in the door. And by God, if you let me get that foot in the door, right? I have the chance to get that foot in the door. You best believe. You best believe. I'm a wedge this size 12 in that door. No matter how much you push on it, no matter how much it scrunches up, no matter how much it hurt, I'm going to keep that foot in there and I'm going to keep wedging until the door opens up big enough for me to put my arm through, my shoulder through, my head through, or something. I have to make it for myself. I can't wait on nobody else. So, yes, I'm here, but I have to show up and show out. You understand what I'm saying? Not show up and show out where you're tearing stuff apart, but show up and show out your best representation of who you are. And ladies and gentlemen, please understand, I'm not saying you got to put on anything. I'm not saying that you got to pretend to be somebody else. I'm saying you show up in your true, authentic self and let nature take its course. 6 in one hand, ladies and gentlemen, half a dozen in another. If it don't work this way, 6. If it don't work this way, half a dozen. They both still 6. Put them together, it's a dozen, but you can still call it 12. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Y'all get it? Y'all hope it? Look, ladies and gentlemen, I know I came on talking this morning, and I had thought this morning that I wasn't going to do a live this morning. I said, you know what? I'm not doing a thought to ponder this morning. I'm not going to do it. But look, ladies and gentlemen, keep pushing, keep moving, and do it your way. I reopened up my website. As you can see, it's scrolling across the bottom. It's tinycapri.com. And here is 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another with that, and then I'm going to be done. I was told that it wasn't good, right? I had so much on the website. I was trying to do so much. I was trying to let people know who I was. I was trying to do this. I was trying to do that. I was trying to make sure that I was good. I was doing so much. And then somebody said to me, I asked them to look at the website, and they said to me, oh, that's a lot. There's a lot going on. I don't even know where to go or what to do. So I switched the website up, and I had this thing that I thought that I liked. And so I was like, it's my website, so this is what I'm going to do. But you want people to go to your website. You want people to visit your website and to be there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've made some changes to the website. It's still me, right? But I've made some changes, kind of honed in on some things and turned some things down a little bit because I had them up to like 10, had to turn them down to like 5. But my website is basically me and the things that I do in this world, the things that I do in this universe. So go over to tinycapri.com, and if you click on the Photogriffany store, which is up top, right? Or any of the scrolling things that come up, Titan Chronicles, Photogriffany by Titan, entertainment, things like that. You can click on any of those. It'll take you to that perspective page. But this is what I want to say to you all. I'm a photographer, right? And I take photos all the time. And so I never thought that my photos were good enough or great enough or pretty enough or anything like that. I just knew I liked taking photos. I love taking pictures. I always have a camera, right? And so one day I got to thinking, oh, this is not bad. And then so I had the website up and nobody was going to the website. I had no traffic at all going to my website. And this is one of my stories that I tell because I was so down on myself. I shut the website down for like almost a year. I didn't want to do anything with the website. Some of the people that I know, good friends, came to the website and they bought stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm not taking anything away from my good friends. But in order to survive in business, you're going to need more than just good friends. You're going to need people to go to your website and do what you need them to do, right? Or go to your website and even look at what's going on. I wasn't getting anything to the website, so I was so discouraged. But that was because I had 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another. This 6 in this hand right here, I put so much on the website. Nobody could truly do it. One day I was sitting with a friend and they pulled up the website and they said, Titan, come on. What is this? What is this? Did you even proofread this? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And so I said to myself in that moment, how many people had I showed this site to and nobody ever said anything? Nobody didn't do. Nobody said nothing. So what did I do? Okay, then. Well, let me go and research. Let me do my due diligence and make sure that I'm good. So let me look at other websites. How do they function? How do they go? What's going on? So I had to streamline it and crisp and clean it. But I had to do it with half a dozen in this other hand. I already knew that the 6 wasn't working for me because I went about it from 0 to 100. Remember what I said, that in between. But this half a dozen in this hand was me reading the instructions, doing my research, and making sure that I was good. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, if you don't know anything else about 6 in one hand and half a dozen in another, know that there's always another way. This route, that route. There's a fork in the road. That's it, right? Know what that is and know how to do it. Protect yourself, love yourself, be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen, and make sure that you are good. But what I want you to know is that just because it doesn't go this way or good that way, then take a step back, reevaluate what's happening, and then go forward. Find out what it takes to sustain. Find out what it takes to open up. Find out what it takes for you to go forward. And once you do, then you move. But do understand to be very aware of your surroundings. I went that route last time and that didn't work. I might need to go that same route, but let me see what I need before I get to the door and I don't have a key, or I get to the door and I can't get in. Right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm done because I really wasn't supposed to be talking this long. But I want to say to you all, thank you all so much. I appreciate you for coming in. It is a thought to ponder, right? Hashtag T2P the podcast. It's all of that. It's THOUGHT, the number 2, and then ponder, right? I am on streaming platforms. I'm on Spotify, Apple, pretty much everything. I'm moving and growing by the week. So expect me to be there. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm always going live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10. And not necessarily always 8 a.m. to 10, but sometimes I have interviews. Sometimes I have people that'll be on. And I'm just trying to grow it. You let me know what you think. Remember, thumbs up, heart, like, subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Titan Capri. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff, Titan Capri. But do come on, ladies and gentlemen. And then go check out the podcast. I got some really good things going on. On Mondays, I have a meeting in the family room. On Wednesdays, I have Workshop Wednesday. On Fridays, we have our Fire Fridays. And so with all of that being said, come check me out. Come check me out. I was making moves before with 6 in this hand. It wasn't working for me. So I had to switch over here to half a dozen in this hand. And that half a dozen has been working for me so much better than that 6 in the other hand. So do understand that, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you so much. Again. Come check us out tomorrow at 8 a.m. Peace and blessings.